With the original threat to Sora, his friends, and the world defeated in the first phase of Kingdom Hearts, bringing the Xehanort saga to a close, a new threat is slowly but surely revealing themselves in the Willful Darknesses and the plan put into motion by the Master of Masters. While his apprentices, that are also masters in their own right, the Foretellers, along with Luciu, seem to be working for the sake of the light and allies in their own way, the name conventions of these Foretellers, along with a box belonging to the Master of Masters, call to the specifications of the 7 deadly sins of religious teachings, with these sins being greed, sloth, envy, wrath, gluttony, lust, and pride. With how virtuous these Keyblade Masters claim to be, why these names? Well, as it's revealed outside of the experiments of Xehanort, there are actually a set of real 13 willful darknesses, cognitive beings of darkness with no form but are able to move, think, and plan. But according to the Master of Masters, there are 7 in particular within the 13 that are quite deadly. So much so that the Master's plan was to use the Keyblade War to attract these deadly darknesses and trap them within the hearts of his apprentices as well as himself, as the willful darknesses cannot be destroyed when they have no form. A sacrificial plan into play. With the knowledge that the supposed 7 deadly darknesses will be trapped within those that carry the names of sins, I have dubbed these darknesses as the 7 deadly sins of darkness. And within this revelation in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, a connection is made in Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, as young Xehanort has shown an interesting ability, having eyes that are able to see the darkness, and it seems that he may have spotted one of these deadly sins of darkness within Wonderland. With the teaching passed down from his master Odin, it is clear that these specific darknesses are drawn to a specific sin, with the darkness looming behind the Queen of Hearts to be the darkness of wrath. And today, we are going to try and locate the rest of the 7 deadly sins of darkness. What's up guys, it's HMK. Let's take a close look at the incoming shadows that is the 7 deadly sins of darkness in order to get a clear picture of the future of Kingdom Hearts. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more hype Kingdom Hearts videos every week. Strap on in for the safety of that hype, and let's dive directly into the darkness. With the connection and revelation of the deadly sins, Foretellers, and Willful Darkness between that of Union Cross and Dark Road, along with their particular choice of worlds, it could be theorized that the worlds the darknesses originally made their homes are tied to that of the original set of the Princesses of Heart, with Alice in Wonderland going along with this. And with the Red Queen being tied to Wrath as confirmed through text and action, we have one darkness down that was originally tied to the Princess of Heart Alice and the Foreteller era. When it comes to the actions of the Disney villains from specific worlds of the princesses in both the original films and the Kingdom Hearts series, it would be easy in my opinion to pinpoint their traits for some, but a bit harder for others. Let's start with the darkness of greed. I believe that this darkness would be found within the world of Beast's Castle, being tied specifically to the Princess Belle and harbored by the villain Gaston. Now, it could be argued that Gaston is more in line with vanity and pride for his deadly sin, but he has shown traits and aspects that are extremely and aggressively greedy, as he is a hunter by nature, hoarding trophies from his game, and even described as being obsessed with Belle, greedily determined to have her hand in marriage, extremely possessive in nature as seeing Belle as the ultimate trophy he has yet to add to his prize collection. Indeed, this idea of greed can be viewed as something that permeates throughout the world of Beast's Castle, as the Beast himself can be viewed on having levels of greed, especially with the Enchanted Rose. So I do believe that Gaston is going to be tied to the darkness of greed that would be reserved for Foreteller Ava. The darkness of Sloth now approaches. I've had some thought with this, but I feel that this darkness will be found within the Castle of Dreams, tied to Cinderella and harbored by Lady Tremaine. Although it could be disputed that this villain is more in line with envy, I feel that Sloth personifies not only her, but her daughters as well, spending their days in a lavish, comfortable lifestyle while exhausting the wealth meant for Cinderella, while at the same time turning her into a servant in her own home. Cinderella sadly waits on Lady Tremaine hand and foot, while her vile stepmother does nearly nothing, work for nothing, or earn nothing, rather gaining her wealth and status easily through marriages, with her own to Cinderella's father and an attempt to marry one of her daughters to the prince. So looking at it with that perspective, Lady Tremaine would indeed be tied to the darkness of Sloth that would be reserved for Foreteller Aced. Now here is where we get spicy. For the darkness of envy, instead of Lady Tremaine, I feel the absolute best and obvious choice for this deadly sin will be the world of Dwarven woodlands, tied to Snow White and harbored by the evil queen. The entire narrative point of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves was that the wicked queen was insanely jealous of Snow White by not being the fairest of them all, with this deep-seated catalyst being responsible for every one of the evil queen's actions in the film and the Kingdom Hearts series. There is no doubt in my mind that the darkness of envy will be found within the evil queen that would be reserved for Foreteller Envy. The remaining deadly darknesses have their lines a little blurred in terms of where they could fall when specifically looking at the darkness of Gluttony. With that device, I believe that darkness could be found within Enchanted Dominion, tied to the Princess Aurora, harbored within or assisted Maleficent. My reasoning for that idea of gluttony is not particularly that of an actual unlimited physical hunger or need to feed, but rather an idealistic unlimited thirst for all things, revenge, conquest, collection of the worlds by any means necessary, as Maleficent would go through any lengths to achieve or gain what she desires. This is noted in the film Sleeping Beauty, where her vengeance and appetite for destruction and evil knows no end, and within the Kingdom Hearts series, her conquest to establish all worlds under her rule would lead to her literally to the ends of the earth and even the edge of time. And I believe that it personifies gluttony to a degree more so than any prospective villain tied to a Princess of Heart. So with that in mind, I do believe that Maleficent may be tied to the darkness of gluttony that would be reserved for Foreteller Gula. Now we come to the darkness of lust. This one is an easy one for me. This deadly darkness would be found in, brace for it, Agrabah, and be tied to Jasmine while being harbored by none other than Jafar. Jafar's personality is driven completely by lust, both seen psychologically and physically, as in his position as the Sultan's vizier, he lusts for the power over the control of Agrabah, then the world, then the cosmos. This ideology can be argued to be in line with that of Maleficent. However, the difference between the mistress of all evil and Jafar is that Maleficent already has the power to conquer, while Jafar maniacally lusts for it, thus leading to his actions to frantically look for the magic lamp. Also that, and he literally lusted over the Princess Jasmine multiple times in the Aladdin film. With the darkness of lust solidified, it would be tied to that of Jafar, which would be reserved for the Master Lushu. And finally, we come to the final darkness, at least of the 7 deadly sins of darkness. The final deadly darkness of pride. Where would it be? Who could it be? Well, for starters, I believe that the darkness of pride would be tied to the final Princess of Heart, Kairi, and possibly from her home world, which would not be the Destiny Islands. That's right, the Radiant Garden. But when it comes to an individual that the darkness could be harbored within, well, I don't think it's that simple. As if we look to the perspective that the Willful Darknesses don't just attract themselves to people, but to entities with hearts. And it is a known fact that worlds themselves do contain hearts. And that since Radiant Garden, in many a time, have been the home of many great clashes between the light and the darkness, this darkness would indeed be attracted to this world, as this is the City of Light, a town that prides itself in its beauty, townsfolk, and its commitment to research for the betterment of the universe. This would be the world's folly in mirroring that of the sin of pride. And despite multiple attacks on that world from the darkness, Heartless, and the organization, Radiant Garden was never truly consumed by the darkness, adding more to its pride. And with a darkness potentially this great, this superb, it would be a darkness that would indeed be reserved for the Master of Masters. There is the idea that clashes with this that would think that Vanitas is indeed the darkness of pride, having his name based on the idea of vanity, which is a vice closely correlating with the idea of pride. But in that regard, another theory tells me that Vanitas is truly one of the 13 darknesses, but not one of the 7, being a willful darkness on the outer circle aside from the deadly 7. And if this is the case, can you imagine the might of the true 7 if Vanitas was not among them? But that is the idea for another time, as I want to know what you guys think about this idea and theory tied to the 7 deadly sins of darkness. Leave your comments and theories in the comment section below, especially if you believe that a sin may be tied to another entity. Like, share, and subscribe for more Kingdom Hearts content every week. I'll bring the hype with the next one. So until then, this has been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.
So you haven't subscribed to HMK yet? Don't piss Xemnas off.